Tell the truth.
What's up? What's up, everybody? Peace, peace. Welcome to the Information Man Show. I want to say something to everybody very clearly today. I want to thank you all that came over and have been supporting the Info Media Reacts channel. I also want to say yesterday during that particular stream, it was a successful stream. I recognize very clearly that there were certain names that I did not pronounce properly on that stream. And so I definitely want to let everybody know my apologies. But the facts are the facts, in that I had receipts in that video. The receipts clearly spoke for themselves. That was a video that I did yesterday as it related to a hip hop photographer challenging Tariq Nasheed to take certain photos out of his documentary. And I was talking about that really related to who created hip hop. As you may know, there's been an all-out assault and attack on trying to reshape who created hip hop, when we know that it was a creation of Black Americans, particularly the preteens, during that time. So I just want to give that disclaimer for those of you who may have watched the video yesterday on the Info Media channel. So I want to thank you for your ongoing support. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it very clearly to everybody right now, is that I'm going to make some people angry today. I'm going to make this very clear in my disclaimer. Again, another disclaimer. I don't give a damn. I'm going to keep this real with you all. And anybody who does not like it, I don't really care. I don't care about Joe Biden, as we know that there was an announcement that he has dropped out of the race. And they're now putting their bets on Kamala Harris. I believe, with all my intelligence and critical thinking skills, that Kamala Harris is not going to beat Trump. Trump is going to win this election because the Democrats don't have their shit together. Even with Trump being convicted and given a felony, there he is in court, he is still going to become the United States president. Think about all the black men and black women who have been given felonies in this country, and they can't get a job. They can't get an opportunity. No way and no how. But when you've got the right complexion, as Paul Mooney told us so many years ago, Paul Mooney said that if you got the right complexion, then you'll get the protection. And that's just the truth.
Tell the truth.
That's why Trump is where he is today, because he's got the right complexion for the protection. He also has a corrupt Supreme Court, as you may know, a Supreme Court that has given him immunity, a Supreme Court that is dominated by Republicans, and the Democrats are the fault for that. When the, what was her name? Greenberg, I think she was 80-something years old. She refused to step down, just like Joe Biden was refusing to step down. She refused to step down from her seat. When if she would have stepped down, they could have put someone of a liberal thinking minded person on the court. They allowed Trump to get control of the White House. Therefore, he's packed the court with these corrupt individuals who I wouldn't give them the time of the day to call them a Supreme Court. They are a supreme disaster. You've got one butter biscuit man on there. That is Clarence Uncle Tom Raccoon Thomas. And he's been getting plenty of butter biscuits. Good butter biscuits. The court is brought and sold for. There is no justice. There's just us, everybody. So Donald Trump has a court that's in his favor. You just witnessed a judge that he appointed in Florida that said that they could not bring, I guess, the case against him as it relates to the documents that he took and put in his funky mansion out there in Florida, stuffed it in the bathroom, telling people our secrets, allegedly. And so one of his loyalists, a judge, she dismissed the case, but they're going to appeal the case up to a higher court that some say is going to go forward with it. So Kamala Harris, they're going to roll the dice on Kamala Harris, a woman who could not win her own damn state of California, a woman that has put more black men or kept more black men in prison who were found to be innocent, a woman who resided over an office when she was Attorney General of California, an office that did terrible things with the way they handled laboratory evidence that could have freed many black men that were incarcerated in California. I want to say Earl Owens, thank you for being here. We got Brother Rob in the house. Good to see you. It's been a minute, brother. Jackie is here. Jill's Chocolate Boutique is here. Glad to see you all here. Sister Dunn, thank you for being here. Brittany Dunn, I appreciate you as well. I appreciate everybody. So they're going to put their bets onto Kamala Harris. I'm just going to say right now, because the Democrats are in disarray, they're not, I don't think you can damn near almost say that Trump is a shoo-in. Yeah, you still got to have an election, but I don't think Kamala Harris is very popular nationally. And if she's going to win, she's going to have to put somebody on that ticket with her that has national appeal and can particularly appeal to people in the Midwestern, in the southern states, Northeast, Rust Belt states, blue collar type working states. She's going to have to appeal to those kinds. She's going to have to change the way she goes about doing things. Black people in particular, specifically black men, are not very fond of her. Yes, there are black women that are telling the Democratic Party they better put their bets on her, but I just don't see this as something that's viably going to work out. And as a result, Joe Biden, the man has been losing his mind. Now, don't get me wrong. Trump is no better either, because Trump is losing his mind as he mumbles off and mumbles. And you notice he goes off script quite a bit. When he goes off script, meaning goes off the teleprompter, all bets are off. He talks like the racist that he is. Let me also say this again. I don't give a damn about Donald Trump because he's rich. He's got money. Whether he wins the election, he going to be all right. Black people, are we going to be all right? Joe Biden, I don't give a damn about Joe Biden, because Joe Biden's going to be all right. He's got a nice home out there in Delaware. He's going to have something that we don't have. He's going to have free health care for the rest of his life, the best health care that money can buy. He's going to have a great pension. His family, even his drug addict son, will be well taken care of. So why would I care about two white men who will be well off, whether they are in the race, win or not? They're going to be just fine. It's black people I'm concerned about. Same thing with Harris. I'm not concerned about her because whether she wins or loses, she gonna be all right. Okay? She gonna be all right. Oh my God. The question is, will we be all right? Now, before I get into this, we're going to talk about the Project 2025. I've had a chance to go over this project. People are saying that this project is not something that Donald Trump is pushing, that it's not his thing. Bullshit. Most of the people who have put this together, like I think this guy is Kevin Roberts, who is his main point man. These folks were in his administration. Don't tell me that Donald Trump doesn't know what it's about, that he doesn't have his finger on it in some indirect or direct way, when the majority of the people who put this bullshit together, like Uncle Ben's Carson, they knew exactly what they were doing when they put this whole thing together, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you share this video on your social media. If you got a desktop computer, you're using your cellular phone, your iPhone, your Droid phone, your laptop, whatever you have, push the button where it says share right now, and you can send it to your Facebook or your X or Twitter, and you can even send it to your YouTube channel if you have one, and you can share it in your community tab. I definitely would appreciate that, everybody. So thank you again. Let me get back to this again. This man is in charge of the Heritage Foundation. That's the foundation that put the Project 25 together. My question is, what do black people get out of it? Because with Kamala Harris being the now looks like she'll be running against him, I really feel that Trump is going to win. And if he wins, how much of this shit is going to be implemented and how much of it's going to impact black people? So while we laugh and we wax poetically on YouTube, and we have some idiots telling us that Project 25, oh, it's going to benefit. No, it's not. It's going to hurt black people. You see, when America gets a cold, black people get the damn flu.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You see, Project 2025 is designed to benefit white society. White society, particularly white men, feel that there's reverse discrimination against them, which is one of the reasons why they are against DEI. What is DEI? Let's break it down here. DEI stands for diverse, equality, and inclusion. Equity and inclusion. Why do we have this? Because for years and years and decades in this country, we've had black people in particularly that were discriminated against when it came to going to school, when it came to equal employment. A lot of people will tell you that affirmative action programs are designed to allow people to get into schools that are otherwise unqualified. That's bullshit. Let me tell you why. Because everybody that comes into college over the years does not take a affirmative action test, right? So when you look at this brother right here studying in the library, you can get into school under affirmative action, as many of us have, mainly because you would have been discriminated against in years past. What it does is it allows black people, black men, black women, to go to schools, whether it be medical school, where we would have been discriminated from being able to go to. Goal is to get, you have to be qualified. And if affirmative action students were not effective, guess what? When you take the exam, as this brother is studying, when you take the exam in college, you're not getting a affirmative action exam. They don't say, hey, give that black person a different test. You take the same test as everybody else. So therefore, if you matriculate through the system, you're just as smart as everybody else. You just got an opportunity that you otherwise wouldn't have had to get. But what the Republicans want to do under the 2025 plan is they want to push this right here. What is the ideology of meritocracy? Meritocracy is a political, social, or economic system in which individuals are assigned to a position of power and influence, meaning you get in on your merit. We've got plenty of black people who went to school, did everything they're supposed to do, and they still get discriminated against. I'm going to give you examples. Or you get rewarded solely on the basis of their abilities and achievements and not on the basis of their social, culture, or economic background or irrelevant personal characteristics, like a person being black, for example. Right, that may be true. That may be true theoretically, but in reality, because America is a racist country, the hell with what Tim Scott said, because of this, we have inherently been discriminated against when we met all those goals and processes. What's happening with 2025 is this is white men, white people saying, hey, we're the ones being discriminated against because they don't want to compete with the fact that you got other people in this country of other racial groups that are able to compete. And they have been used to being in power and complete corrupt power for years. This is what this Project 2025 is all about. I'm going to say it again. I don't give a damn about the Republican Klan. I don't give a damn about the Democrats. And I damn sure don't give a damn about Donald Trump and his racism or anything, because Donald Trump has been a racist for years. And for those of you black folks on the YouTube streets that's been singing his song like you're on a goddamn plantation, I've got documentation in my hand, because everybody always says, well, if he racist, tell me what he did. I got the documentation of Donald Trump's long history of racism from the 1970s all the way to 2020. I got the documents in my hand. I'm going to break everything down to you. This all plays into 2025 that damn project, that he's got majority of the people on that project come straight out of his administration, right off his cloth. I'm here to tell you that either one of these political parties have done nothing for black folks. They're not worth a damn. Donald Trump's not worth a damn, because you know damn well if you committed the crimes that Trump has committed, black man, black woman, you would be in jail right now. You wouldn't be running for no president. You wouldn't be able to run for no office. Matter of fact, you wouldn't be able to get a damn job. This man's going for the highest office in the land, and nobody's talking about it. Yeah, Joe Biden is a shell of himself. Yeah, Joe Biden has engaged in racism as well. This is for the people that's going to leave the goofy comments on this video. Joe Biden is a racist as well. Joe Biden told us in the 1970s that he was concerned about his kids being in a racial jungle. I know all that damn history. Joe Biden ran around with Dixiecrats like Strom Thurmond when he was crafting the crime bill that put more black men in prison than a little bit. Guess what? Donald Trump's been involved in engaging in discrimination against black people in New York, and he's been doing it for years. Oh, I've got the documentation right here. Don't play with me. Too many people get on YouTube and get to talking, but they don't have data. They don't have facts to back up what they're saying. I've got facts to back up everything I'm going to say today. Shit that's come out of his own mouth. When you had the Charlottesville situation and they asked him about that, didn't Donald Trump tell you that there were fine people out there? Don't play with me. And for the raccoons out here, you know who you are. You've got a bunch of these raccoons that have been supporting Donald Trump, that have been rocking with Donald Trump, telling me and you why we should vote for him. Both parties are garbage. Joe Biden's garbage. I wouldn't vote for any one of them. I wouldn't vote for either one of them. You don't see other ethnic groups. You don't see the Asian community. You don't see these other communities who have independent economics in their community running around crying about this political season. When have you seen Asian people running around crying about the political season? The only time they come to our community is when it's election time. Joe Biden, what did he do? He gets on there and goes to black churches. Donald Trump goes to a black church with no black people. Goddamn. They both doing the same damn shit. Donald Trump goes to a black church, yet there's no black people in the damn church. Joe Biden goes to black churches and he panders. They're both are pandering. Donald Trump sends his flunkies to Philadelphia, to Detroit, to a church. Detroit's one of the blackest cities in the country, yet you had no black people in the goddamn church. Then he goes to Philadelphia, where brothers in Philadelphia calls out his flunkies. Then he goes to, sends out his raccoons to Atlanta, Georgia, and a brother in Atlanta, his barbershop's been hurt by the game that Trump and his raccoon surrogates created. Let me show you. This all plays into Project 2025, y'all. Let me show you just a reminder. Just a reminder. Let's see right here. Here's what's it? Byron Donalds, who's been cooning heavily for Trump because he thought he was going to get picked as the VP. They turn around and pick a man who was talking crap about Donald Trump. Can you believe that? That JV, whatever the hell his name is. Check this out, y'all. Check this out. Check this out.
Do I believe in myself? 100% I do. And so, we'll see what President Trump decides. I'm going to support whatever he does.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
We've got Negroes talking about, I just love you. We've got Negroes in America talking about Tim Scott says, I just love you. We've got Byron Donald, the one who tried to tell us that black people were better off, that we were more together during the Jim Crow time. And you know damn well what was happening to black people during Jim Crow. And this fool sets up here, and this man is a congressman or something like that. Why do we vote for these type of shuck and jivers?
Do I believe in myself? 100% I do. And so, we'll see what President Trump decides. I'm going to support whatever he does.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
I just love you. Now, everybody in the chat room, be with me here. Put sevens in the chat room. Let me break some things down to you. Do you notice that all these guys were cooning for Donald Trump, yet he didn't pick none of them? That's the white supremacy. Donald Trump stayed on code with his own people. He's got all these Negroes talking about they love him. I just love you.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
I just love you. Tim Scott says, I just love you. So now you got all these folks, these black raccoon surrogates, trying to get their, as I call it, you call it, their butter biscuits. And yet they didn't get any butter biscuits because Donald Trump picked a white dude who's been talking shit about him over the time that he was in the White House. So what does that tell you? You got black men, black conservatives that are running around pushing the Donald Trump Kool-Aid because they hoping that Donald Trump's going to pick them and give them their butter biscuits. And what did Donald Trump do? He turned around and picked a guy who has literally disrespected him, has literally got on shows and said that Donald Trump was a despicable individual. This is what this man has done. Donald Trump picked one of his own kind. He didn't care that the dude talked crap about him at one point in time. Donald Trump just made sure that he stayed on code and picked one of his own. Just like Donald Trump didn't want to have one of the first people to win his Apprentice show, which was, he didn't want that black man. Was it Kwame? Who was the brother? Remind me in the chat room, everybody. It came out in the wash that Donald Trump didn't think America could handle a black male or a black person winning the first Apprentice or that second Apprentice, whichever one he had. I never liked the show anyway. Donald Trump, racism is embedded in him, going all the way back to his father. How many of y'all knew, put sevens in the chat room, that Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump, was a defender and an individual who loved the Ku Klux Klan and was fighting against the police in 1921 in New York to defend the Ku Klux Klan. How many of y'all know that Donald Trump comes from a place in Queens, New York, that is known for being a place that's very racial towards black people? If you knew this information, put 7s in the chat room.
Tell the truth.
I'm sorry, gloves is off today. I don't give a damn if you like Donald Trump and you're a black person that's been eating those cornbread, that's doing shows about Donald Trump. Donald Trump ain't nothing, and Joe Biden ain't nothing. You got all these black surrogates pushing the cornbread for him, and he didn't pick none of them. Now, maybe they're hoping that if he gets in office, he'll throw them some butter biscuits by putting them in some type of position. But a lot of these guys were looking to be the VP. This is why they're running around trying to get into art, trying to convince me and you. Like this nonsense right here. Here go Donald's again with this dude wearing these goofy boots. Y'all seen this video. This dude on here talking about how proud he was when he was in the military academy because he was in a barracks or in a dormitory that was named after Robert E. Lee, a motherfucker that was part of the Ku Klux Klan. And so he says it gives him a different perspective, and I want to have a new one. These black conservatives, just like my man Faison Love said, I should have made a sound effect out of that. Just like Faison Love said, where do these niggas come from? I hate to use that word, but this is the proper word for this today. Where do these niggas come from? Where do these niggas come from? Here we go.
In America, you have 3 black children matriculate
Where do these-
through the premier leadership institution of the entire world and graduate from there and live in a barracks named after a Confederate general.
So
Only
what?
in America. And
So
if
what?
it were named anything
So what?
differently, I wouldn't have that perspective.
So
You
what?
think I support the Confederacy? Don't kid yourself. Of course I don't. Excuse me?
Wow.
Of course I don't. See, this is what happened to you last time.
You see what's happening here? What's happening is they're in Philadelphia, and there's a black man in Philadelphia. There was a brother that was in this this smoke shop, wherever the hell they were in Philadelphia. All respect to Philadelphia. And the black man wasn't having it. He wasn't feeling the raccooning that was going on. He was not feeling the raccooning behavior and talk. He wasn't having it. As he said, this is what happened to you last time, Byron. I can't have a nuanced, what do you mean a nuanced conversation? You came into their community with your funky boots, pushing the Donald Trump narratives. And the funny thing about it is they're campaigning for Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't pick either one of these black chumps to be the VP. Instead, he picked a white boy that's been talking crap about him like a dog. Now make that make sense, huh?
Tell the truth.
Make that make sense. Because it don't make no damn sense.
Last time, I'm trying to have a nuanced conversation.
You don't forget about where you from. Don't
never-
paint the picture. Don't tell us that we can't educate our kids on the opportunity. We're talking about vouchers. You're talking about things that's still going to cost them more money.
So the point I'm making is that I actually do understand.
You
where I came
don't.
from.
You don't
I
understand.
totally
It's
recognize
obvious.
the value of
It's
that.
obvious.
And what I want to say is, at no
Now, what you have right there is you see the, I guess the guy, I guess he must be Asian, Filipino, whatever. You've got him trying to shush the black man up in his own community. You see what I'm saying? We speak out against the nonsense that we see, and we got other people who ain't even from our background, who ain't even walked in our shoes, trying to shush us up so they can push the propaganda. Continue.
time will I ever be a victim. That's why
Everybody
I'm sitting
has a
here right
story, is my
now.
point.
And I don't care what the name of
What
the
are you
statue
going to
was,
do?
and I don't care what the name of the building is.
What are you going to do?
I don't care what the name of the building is because
I'm a black
I
man. This is a
am
conversation
not.
for black men, and all I hear is people that are non-black trying to hush me.
Right. All I hear is people who are non-black trying to hush me. Why are you going to go into a black community, a black city like Philadelphia, and you got people who don't look like him trying to shut him up because you're trying to push this narrative? So what? You were in a dormitory. that was named after Robert Lee. It shouldn't even be named after Robert Lee. He's a traitor. He went against the country. He was part of the Confederacy, which the South is still fighting today for some reason. Why would you be proud of that? Big deal. Oh, I'm in a country called America where I can shut up. Black people got so much stuff that's going on, and this Project 2025 is going to do more damage. And I'm going to show you. Now, let's see this another thing. Trump sent these raccoons down to, I believe it's Atlanta. And they played a game in Atlanta on a barber who thought that it was about jobs and how black people can get jobs because he really doesn't like talking politics. And they used him as a tool and a fool to push Donald Trump's narrative. And then Donald Trump all of a sudden calls up, it was all a prop. Donald Trump has been using black people as props, just like he used those black people at the HBCUs. And just in case y'all think I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, this is what Project 2025 is going to do. It's not just K-12 schools and majority black institutions with no Department of Education. So they want to get rid of the Department of Education. They don't like anything that has to do with regulation, oversight. They don't want any of this sort of stuff. They've been wanting to get rid of the Department of Education for a long time, the Republicans, and especially under Trump's this damn 2025 plan. With no Department of Education, no one can monitor the states that underfund, you want to hear it? HBCUs. Trump's slim down Department of Agriculture will not be able to enforce federal funding for already underfunded black land grant institutions. That's historical black college. And y'all Negroes been running around on YouTube over the last few years ago talking about Donald Trump gave all this money to black schools. No, he didn't. None of those schools got any of that money that it was all a photo op. And most of the historical black colleges, the presidents, people have come out and said that Trump played them for twos and fools. And we had Negroes on YouTube pushing that narrative, and it was a lie. It was a lie. Project 2025 will cut federal funding for institutions, including HBCUs, that offer minority-based scholarships, grants, or any program based on their definition of diversity, equality, or equity and inclusion. That falls under DEI, y'all. The Agenda 47, another part of their agenda, on the other hand, will punish schools that persist in what they call unlawful discrimination under the equality with fines that equal their endorsement. So they don't want you, if you got a school and you're talking about critical race theory, they don't want you teaching critical race theory. They don't want you teaching black history in these schools, because every time we teach black history will be labeled as critical thinking, and they'll want to strip it out. You saw what they did in Florida. And they lied to this brother. They used his barbershop. This is the manipulation of the con man. The people in New York had warned us about Donald Trump. People that have been around Donald Trump have seen what he did in New York. They know Donald Trump better than anybody. They know he's a con man. He's been a con man for a long time. This doesn't mean that Joe Biden is any better. I'm telling you that they're both no good. Joe Biden and Donald Trump both are not worth a bag of fries. But I know that there's black people that's going to gravitate towards a Donald Trump and don't even realize you're voting for a man who doesn't give a damn about you or your needs. And ask yourself a very fundamental question. We do talk about what the Democrats haven't done for us, but ask yourself a fundamental question. What have the Republicans done for us? Don't tell me about Abraham Lincoln and all that bullshit, because Abraham Lincoln didn't free all slaves. Now, we know that the Republicans did certain things in the past, but we're not in the goddamn past. We're right now. We know that the Dixiecrats which the Democratic Party was the party of the Ku Klux Klan and the Dixiecrats. I don't need nobody to tell me that. I know that already. But those same groups of Dixiecrats, where did you think that they went? You think that they just hit somewhere else? No, they all ran over to the Republican Party like Strom Thurmond. Now, let's see how they use this brother. Check this out.
He was misled by a campaign event for former President Trump the day before the debate. Rocky Jones tells our Karis Belger he thought his Buckhead shop was just hosting a forum for black businesses, but he says he never expected to fade into the realm of politics.
To me, cutting hair is like an art.
And smooth waves are not the only thing Rocky Jones wants his shop to be known for.
We try to specialize in just giving good service to the community. As you can see, I've been here since 17 years and it's been good.
Which is why he jumped at the chance to help other black business owners get ahead.
Started with a text, then it went to a call because I was actually out the country. And just me agreeing to do a black small business, round table. I thought it was like something real private.
It was anything but. Rocky, along with black business owners from across metro Atlanta, crammed into his shop, along with Trump surrogates like Ben Carson. But it wasn't all shop talk.
Thinking about black business in Atlanta, small black businesses in Atlanta. And I'm like, okay, so when are we going to start talking about this?
He says a call from former President Trump during the event cut deep.
Why is the ex-president calling somebody in my barbershop? This has nothing to do with small black businesses.
And he was left with a lot more than razor burn.
We had some calls. Thursday, we definitely got some calls, some backlash, some angry people that don't know me. And I have to deal with that. I have no involvement in politics. We don't even talk politics in my barbershop. It's all sports. Commend everybody to vote, but that's your business. I don't tell you what to do.
The number of customers, he says, has trimmed down, but he hopes the shock will fade and he can keep helping his community.
Now, is Donald Trump going to give that man some money for his losses? Is Donald Trump going to make him whole because he hurt his shop economically? Is Donald Trump and all those raccoons that were supporting this, that were vying for their butter biscuits, are they going to have they written a check out to say, hey, brother, we're sorry that this hurt your shop? No, they simply used that brother, used them. And that's what Donald Trump has done to people. He uses them. Has Donald Trump made this man good? Have any of these raccoons who are buying for the butter biscuits that you see right there, have they made this man whole? Have they apologized to him? As a reminder, this is what happened. This is the stage that they set up. Donald Trump is a transactional figure. Like all politicians, they use people. You see, in politics, there are no permanent friends. There are no permanent enemies. There's just permanent interests. And Donald Trump does what he has to do to get the votes, to get the interest, to benefit him and his family. He doesn't give a damn about black people. He only gives a damn about himself. And he's using his conservative surrogates to push his agenda. And he didn't pick any of those Negroes to be his running mate, although they were cooning. And you know what? J.V. Vance, is that his name, folks? Put it in the chat room. The guy that he picked for vice president, is it J.V. Vance? Did that white dude, did that white boy do anything? Did he go around cooning for Donald Trump the way these black dudes did? Tell the truth. J.D. Vance, thank you. And I apologize. Everybody, I apologize that I didn't have J.D. Vance's picture up here because I would have liked to have put the picture of the man, but y'all know who I'm talking about. J.D. Vance. I'm going to ask this question again. Everybody in the chat room listening. Did J.D. Vance go out like these black men did and was pushing the Donald Trump Kool-Aid? Was J.D. Vance buck dancing for Donald Trump? Did you ever see him buck dancing as much as you saw black men buck dancing for Donald Trump? Yet people like Tim Scott talking about, I just want to tell you I love you. Did you ever see? Check this out again.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
I just love you. Jay, here you got a black man in Tim Scott buck dancing, talking about he love him because he want to get picked as the VP. Donald Trump picks J.D. Vance, who ain't done no buck dancing for him. Matter of fact, J.D. Vance was talking about Donald Trump. He was talking about what a horrible human being he was. Think about it, black folks. Just like Donald Trump didn't want no black person winning that apprentice, why you think he would want to pick a black person to be his VP? They're doing all the raccooning around, and J.D. Vance, all he had to do was sit back and be cool and chill and say, hey, I'm now going to be a follower of Donald Trump. All the stuff I said about him, I take it back. I'm not going to. But then J.D. didn't have to get out there and twerk it up. J.D. didn't have to go out there and twerk it up. Did he? Did J.D. have to go out there and twerk it up, everybody? Do y'all remember him getting on the circuit like all these black folks? Did you see him doing that? No. He didn't have to do any of it. Let me put this up here. He didn't have to twerk it up. Where's my twerk? One of my twerk videos. Where's my twerk video? Did he have to do any of this? Did he have to do any of this, folks? Did JD have to do any of it? Did he have to twerk it up like that? Did he have to bust it wide open like Tim Scott busted wide open and Byron Donalds was busting it wide open like that? Did he have to bust it wide open like that? No. Look at what he did, how he played them.
But since this has happened, like the mugshot is the best. It just beat Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra by a lot, by the way. Beat him by a lot. But that's the number one mug.
All they're doing is sitting up there laughing like raccoons. Donald Trump is insulting black people by saying, everybody like my mugshot, especially the black people, the Latinos. Because why did he say that? Because Donald Trump associates black people with being criminals. Let me put another video up here for you to get so I can drive home my point. Donald Trump sees us as this, y'all. That's why he said that. That's why he said, oh, black folks, you guys can relate to me, because he's pandering, but he also is spitting in your face and stereotyping us like this. He thinks that we're all like this. He thinks that we're all criminals, like you see these dudes right here trying to rob a place. That's what Donald Trump thinks we are.
Tell the truth.
Joe Biden's no better. Don't get it twisted. Joe Biden's no better.
Of all time. It's really an amazing thing. Since it happened, the support among the black community and the Hispanic community has skyrocketed.
Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Tell the truth.
Do you see what I mean? This is how Donald Trump really sees us. This is how he sees us, as criminals. Let me give you some details here. Ladies and gentlemen, please bear with me today. Share the video on all your social media, but bear with me. Donald Trump's long history of racism from 1970 to 2020. Trump has a long history of racist controversy issues. In 1973, the United States Department of Justice under Nixon at that time administration, out of all administrations, sued the Trump Management Corporation for violating the Fair Housing Act. Federal officials found evidence that Trump had refused to rent to black tenants. and y'all say he ain't racist. Shit.
Tell the truth.
And I got more juicy stuff here for you. And he lied to black applicants about whether apartments were available. Amongst other accusations, Trump said that the federal government was trying to get him to rent to welfare recipients. In the aftermath, he signed a agreement in 1975. See, many of y'all don't know about this. If you're a millennial, you probably don't know about this. If you've been running around pushing the Trump medicine. and once again, Joe Biden ain't no better. Okay? He agreed in 1975 not to discriminate to renters. I don't like this word, but they said color, without omitting previous discriminations. Okay? Now, how many of y'all know about what he did at his casino? Okay, remember he owned a casino. 1980, Kemp Brown, a former employee at Trump's castle, accused, I think it was his casino. I think, I could be wrong here. At his castle, accused another one of Trump's business of discrimination. When Donald and Ivan came to the casino, it was a casino, the boss would order all black people off the floor. Brown said it was the 80s and I was a teenager, but I remembered it. They put us all in the back. This is 1980, Kemp Brown. Look it up if you think I'm lying to you. A former employee at Trump's casino. The boss would order all black people off the floor. Brown said it was the 80s and I was a teenager. When Donald, check this out, when Donald Trump and a guy named Ivan would come to the casino, the bosses, the people that worked for Donald Trump, would get all the black people off the damn floor when Donald Trump entered the building. Why would they be doing that unless it was the unwritten policy that was handed down to them by one Donald Trump?
Tell the truth.
Let's get into this 2025 as well. Now, Donald Trump and many people I've been listening to people on the YouTube streets make statements that, well, Donald Trump don't know nothing about this 2025 plan. He ain't got nothing to do with it. That's a damn lie. And here's a breakdown. This brother right here has a great YouTube channel. I clipped this from his channel. He's going to express some things. Check this out. Check this out.
Anything about Project 2025. I don't know the people behind it, and I have nothing to do with Project 20.
So what he's saying right there is that Trump is saying that he doesn't know anything about Project 2025 or the people behind it. That's a damn lie. The people behind it worked for Trump and his administration when he was president. And remember, a lot of the people that were in his administration have been convicted. They have gone to a court of law. He had nothing but a cesspool of criminals throughout his whole administration. It doesn't mean that other presidents like a Joe Biden didn't have crooks in his administration as well now, because we know that politics is a dirty game and people play a lot of games and they manipulate us, the public. We never get the justice that we really should get. Let's go ahead and let you hear this now. Let you finish. Let me hit it.
25. I don't know the people behind it, and I have nothing to do with Project 2025. Well, he's lying. Because many of the people who wrote the mandate for leadership.
Now, as you see all these individuals on here, you got Uncle Ben's Carson at the far right bottom. There he is right here. And look at him, smiling for the butter biscuits. Ben Carson, a black man who did damage to black people when it came to housing. I'm going to get to that too, which is part of the 2025 plan. These are the individuals here that were all in his administration, and he says he didn't know who they were. Shit.
He's lying. Because many of the people who wrote the mandate for leadership, which lays out Project 2025's policies, many which are anti-black policies, was written by former Trump officials, including Ben Carson, Christopher Miller, and others. Some are even directors of Project 2025. And again, I've shown in many videos how anti-black Project 2025 is. So black man, black woman, if you're a Trump supporter, you are helping them implement white supremacy, fascism, and Project 2025. Is that really what you want to do?
What he's saying is you are assisting in them implementing the white supremacy within the Project 2025, which speaks about white men being discriminated against, how they want to get rid of the DEI, the affirmative action. And once again, when people have gotten into jobs in school because of affirmative action is designed to pick the people that would otherwise be qualified, but what would be discriminated against because they're black. It was to be given opportunity, because in this country, our people were not given opportunity. Why do you think black people, on the average in this country, don't have generational wealth when they stole the wealth from us? Here we have white men who are putting this thing together along with a few coons or raccoons, and they're talking about how they feel like they're discriminated against when they've had a head start. If black people were in shackle slavery, right? 400 years of shackle slavery, 200 to 400 years of shackle slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, black codes, all that sort of stuff. All those years, white men and white people have had a head start to be successful in this society. We were not given any head start. We had to crawl up from the dirt, literally. Wow. White supremacy, fascism. Let's just hear this again.
You are helping them implement white supremacy, fascism, and Project 2025.
All right. What is fascism? Let's put it up here. Fascism is a fair right, authoritarian, ultra-nationalist political ideology in movement characterized by a dictatorship, a leader that is centralized, autocratic, and forcible. Suppression. So fascism is one man, one rule. Hasn't Donald Trump said things like he wants to be the president forever? Doesn't Donald Trump look up to, follow, and support dictators in the world like Putin and Kim Jong, the little Korean guy who likes to shoot off rockets? Doesn't Donald Trump look up to these people? Because Donald Trump is highly, highly narcissistic. You're also letting a man potentially into the White House. Now we say that Joe Biden's got mental problems. Yes, he does. Joe Biden, I believe, is already have early symptoms of Parkinson's, possibly, with the way he moves. I work in health, so I see how he walks. We call it his gait, how he moves in his gait, how he sometimes is forgetful. The rumor that was put out there that Joe Biden does well between 7 and 8, that fits, because people with Parkinson's have what we call sundowning, where at certain parts of the day, they just are zoned out, like they're a zombie or something. So maybe that's the reason why Joe Biden stepped down, not only because all the donors who were putting pressure on him within the Democratic Party said, hey, man, you're not going to win. You're going to hurt us. We're going to lose the House. We're going to lose the Senate. You've got to drop out of this. Maybe also his medical work showed that he ain't going to be able to make it for no 4 years, let alone through a campaign when people are dropping out and taking their money. And we know that in this society that money talks and bullshit walks. And so therefore, this is why you've got Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris has to be the choice mainly because she's the only one that legally can get access to the money. See, all that PAC money that they were able to raise, you can't have another person come in and use that money. That money has to be handed down to there's a lot of other political reasons and ramifications for why she's going to be the pick. Now, I'm not dumb enough to believe that a lot of these Democrats really want Kamala Harris to run for president. And I'm going to keep this real with you. Kamala Harris is not Black American. She does not have the background that Black Americans have in terms of our history. You know this is true because she lies through her teeth. She lied about when she was listening to Tupac. She wears the sneakers. You know, she tries to paint herself. You had that. What was that? Was it Pete? Was it what's the sister from what's the sister? Hansi, P. Hansi, the actress who was in the TV show with Terrence Howard. Remember they had that back and forth on the BET Awards, which I think was despicable. And Kamala Harris had the nerve to say that she been in these streets. Talking about, yeah, girl, I've been in these streets. I've been in these streets like she from the streets. You know that's laughable. Let's stop it, Kamala. Let's just stop it right now. You're not from the streets. You're not even, you're not from the streets. You didn't, no. She also lied, remember, and said that she was integrated into a school in Berkeley. I used to live in Oakland. I worked in Berkeley. Berkeley is one of the most liberal and off-the-hook places in this country. They've got damn near 2 schools named after Malcolm X. They even give you the day off on Malcolm X. When she got bust into that school, there were other kids in the school of ethnic background because Berkeley, California is a heavily, no matter what you say, it's a heavily liberal city. So she lied about that when she ran against Joe Biden. The Democrats are a mess, and the Republican clan ain't no better either under Trump. So what is fascism? I just went over that definition. So this is the thing right here. Let me show y'all. I read the entire Project 2025. Here are the top 10 ways it will harm Black Americans. So let's see right here, everybody. Please bear with me. This is very, very important. Share this video with people that you care about, your family, your friends. This is very important. This is a deep dive into this. Okay, food stamp supplement, nutrition, assistant programs, SNAP, women and infant care, and the summer food service programs will be cut under this 2025 plan, y'all. The program will include work requirements. Now, I agree, people should have to work to get these programs, but they're going to cut it. NPR, they will defund National Public Radio, Public Broadcast Systems, PBS, and grants for media outlets whose audience are mostly liberal. They will actually say this. Check this out. School lunches. There's a whole section on rich kids eating free lunch. People who attend schools in poor districts will still have to qualify individually. Student loans. A Trump administration would cut or privatize all federal loans programs. So Donald Trump, under this plan, will privatize, and that makes sense because Republicans always like to privatize every damn thing. They've been wanting to privatize Social Security. A Trump administration would cut or privatize all federal loans programs. Not only would this end the fetish of forgiving student loans, they're not going to forgive student loans, y'all, but it would also eliminate income-driven repayment plans. Black homeowners. While nearly 3 out of 4 white Americans own a home, there has never been a none second in American history when black home ownership rates reach 50%. Never, folks. A second Trump administration will continue this trend by diminishing programs designed to increase black home ownership and ending other uses of specific purposes, credit authorities to further equality. They were also in rental assistance programs. Black-owned businesses, Trump Project 2025 and Agenda 47 would diminish nearly every federal program dedicated to building and strengthening black-owned businesses. It would eliminate a 60-year-old program that required federal contractors to compete with anti-discrimination laws and overhaul the Minority Business Development Agency into a program focused on the benefits of free market, the evils of socialism, communism, and the destructive efforts of tax and regulations on minority businesses. Did you hear what I just said, y'all? I hope y'all bearing with me here. Did you hear what I just said? That's part of the 2025 Project 2025. Right here. Make government white again. Every black person has a cousin or aunt who works in the federal government. Do you know what is the biggest agencies that are responsible for the black middle class in this country? It was state and federal jobs like working at the post office. So those of you who have aunts and family members who put you through school, who fed you, took care of you, put a roof over your head, it was the federal state jobs like the post office that was responsible for creating the black middle class. This is why this is dangerous, y'all, under this Project 2025. While the civil federal workforce is disproportionately white at the highest level, in March 2021, nearly half, 46.7%, of low-level government employees were non-white. So black people at the lowest levels consisted of 46.7% at the lowest levels were non-white. In fact, black Americans, government workers, are overrepresented in federal government jobs. So if they cut this and you got family members that work for the federal government, that work in these federal or state jobs, they're going to catch hell under this Project 2025. You best believe, because under this Project 2025, they don't believe in DEI, which stands for diversity, equality, and inclusion. They don't believe in it. They don't want it because they feel the white men, the mega heads that follow Donald Trump, they think that white men in this country think that they have been left out in some kind of way, that they've been hurt. Let's go over here. United States today, DEI under siege, why more businesses are being accused of reverse discrimination. Over the past year, DEI initiatives have been increasingly criticized by conservative advocates, groups, and activists. While federal laws prohibit private employees from considering race and other protected characteristics in employment, decisions they have the discretion to take steps to remedy these racial imbalances in the workplace, which is what people have tried to do in the workplace. So you take this brother right here that you see on the screen. Let's say he's a construction worker, or maybe an engineer, maybe an electric engineer. And these laws that the Project 2025 would get rid of could impact you on the job. You could be discriminated against, overlooked under this project. Okay? Corporations have seen an increase in attacks to their DEI policies by conservatives who threaten to sue, causing some to modify the policies or dial back from programs geared towards. Now, let me put this up here too, right here. This is important stuff, y'all. I hope y'all recognize that this is very important stuff here. They will fight racism against white people. So Project 2025 is talking about white people being discriminated against or racism. Who in the hell in this world has been discriminated against more than black people? White folks have had white privilege. White folks have had a head start on us for over 400 years. The government is run by white folks. They control the economics. Like Neely Fuller Jr. said, the areas of activity. They control the military, they control the religion, they control sex, they control the government, economics, they control the military. They're in control of every damn thing. According to Caucasian race theory, racism against white people is destroying America. This is under the 2025 Project 2025. While the federal government has little to do with local school curriculum, Project 25 alleges that bureaucracy at the Department of Education, which I told you in the beginning, they want to get rid of the Department of Education. The Department of Education rejects racist, anti-American propaganda into American classrooms, which is why the so-called small government conservatives plan to defund Black history. So our history is under attack. Both plans vow to get rid of anti-white indoctrination. So what is that anti-white indoctrination? So if you want to talk about Black history and you want to educate not only the Black kids in the classroom, but the other kids about the real history of this country and what really went down, by telling them things that are really true in history, such as stuff that white people did that was pretty negative, like putting Black people into slavery, like discriminating against us, that by teaching this history, you are doing what again? You are indoctrinating, you are being anti-white and indoctrinating affirmative action, diversity, equality, and inclusion, and especially the dreads critical race theory, which they do not like. So basically, Black history has been on the chopping board, y'all. Those who subscribe to the theory believe that racism, in this case, treating individuals differently based on race, is a apportionate necessary, even making the theory more than merely an analytical tool to describe race in public and private life. And remember, critical race theory is what they teach in college. Critical race theory is not something that they just teach in the elementary school level. Not on that level. It came out of the university system originally. Project 2025 chapter on education. Ultimately, this is how the mega government will fulfill Agenda 47. And make sure y'all look up Agenda 47. Agenda 47's pledge that President Trump will cut federal funding for any program, any school that talks about history that's related to race and what happened. So Black history literally is being demonized as critical race theory as an excuse not to teach kids the true history and destroy our history. This is under Donald Trump's minions, the minions that he is claiming that he don't know nothing about this. Like I said again.
Many of the people who wrote the mandate for leadership, which lays out Project 2025's policies, many which are anti-Black policies, was written by former Trump officials, including Ben Carson, Christopher Miller, and others. Some are even directors of Project 2025.
All right.
And
like this man right here, Kevin Robertson. This man right here is the president of the Heritage Foundation, and he worked in Donald Trump's administration. So don't tell me that Donald Trump don't know nothing about the Project 2025. He's lying to you. He knows everything about it. All the stuff that I've been talking about the DEI and equal access to work and opportunity it's continuing to be a big deal. The anti-DEI movement has gone from fledgling to mainstream. Here's what that means for corporate America. Everything that I'm putting on the screen, everybody, if you go back and look at this video again, you can look these articles up. Everything I'm putting up here is receipts. How does this affect us? Remember I said early on in the program that here you have a couple of brothers on here that are in medical school. There was a time when we weren't allowed to go to medical schools, which is why you had Brown versus Board of Education, because black people weren't getting equal access. So you had young black males and ladies who wanted to go to medical school or they wanted to go to law school, and they could not get into those schools because they were discriminated against, which is why you have HBCU schools that black people could go to. But Donald Trump, as secret as it's kept in this Project 2025, they want to defund and devalue HBCUs. You Negroes on the YouTube streets, at one point in time when Donald Trump got in office, I've had people debate me and say, well, Donald Trump is doing more for black folks than he didn't do shit. They didn't get that money. And check this out. Black people were hurting under Obama as well. Remember, when Obama was president, home ownership took a dip. The people who got very well and rich off of Obama's administration were white folks economically. Y'all know I'm telling the truth.
Tell the truth.
So what am I saying again? This is why I'm saying from the very beginning, both these political parties ain't nothing. Both these political parties are hurting us. The Republican clan, the Democrats, all they do is switch positions every couple of years. Every 4 years to 8 years, a Democrat gets in, they screw everything up. Then the Republicans get in, they screw everything up. And guess who gets screwed the most? Us. There's an eagle bird. Republicans and the Democrats are the same bird. You know, when an eagle bird flies, it has a left wing and a right wing. Both the Republicans and the Democrat are the same bird of the same left and right wing. They both work together. Have you ever been to Washington, D.C.? And I've said this before. And have you ever gone to a nice restaurant and you will see these Republicans and these Democrats in restaurants that you think are supposed to be like hating against each other, don't like each other, where they're in the restaurant laughing, eating steak, drinking wine, and talking about, man, you didn't have to be so tough on me on the show today, right? When they go on these little talk shows and they go after each other, now they're in the restaurant laughing and giggling and talking about, man, you didn't have to put it on that strong, because the real deals that are cut are when they're going out to dinner together, and that's where they cut the real deal behind the scenes, and they make you and me think that they're both against each other when they're both against us, because they fool us, manipulate us, and use us as tools and fools, like Donald Trump used that brother in Atlanta, used his barbershop to manipulate and put out a narrative. Tell me I'm not telling the truth. Hit the sevens in the chat room, everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, Jackie, for being here. I appreciate you, Deborah Gunn. Good to see you over here. I appreciate your big dog, Philly OG. Price, I appreciate you. Tell me I'm not telling the truth. I dare you. I triple dare you.
Tell the truth.
So when you look at black folks who have become doctors, professionals, they didn't want us to ever get into school and get that type of education. And they would say that we were inferior, that we didn't have the mind to do it. And therefore, when you get into school and they claim it as affirmative action, the one thing that nobody ever says is that the exams that they take in school are not affirmative action exams. You take the same exam as everybody else. So if you could pass that exam like everybody else, then you belong in that school like everybody else. You belong in that school studying in the library like everybody else. You belong on the job. If you got a technical job, you belong on that technical job, this sister right here, like everybody else, because you had to pass the same exam that everybody else took. That's a fact. That's the truth.
Tell the truth.
Now, Trump promises to give police immunity from prosecution. This is what Trump has been talking about for quite some time. Former President Donald Trump this week made his way to Wisconsin, battleground state. The stakes, in other words, are high. So he made a few big promises. And this is what he said. One such promise: we're going to give our police their powers back. He told the rally goers. Can you believe this, y'all? Can y'all believe this? He's going to give the police their powers back, y'all. We're going to give the police their powers back. He told rally goers, Trump promises to give police immunity, but police have been deleting black men, ladies and gentlemen. Black men have been deleted in this country. Here's a black man who's being interrogated by a police officer. They've been doing us wrong. Remember what happened to George Floyd? I don't care about this whole thing about, well, George Floyd has some drugs in his body and George Floyd had some flawed character. Yeah, he had flawed character, but George Floyd ain't the only black man that police have deleted in this country. So he wants to give them power when they're already corrupt. I did a story on the Info Media channel, you should check it out, about this police officer who tried to steal $900 and he got fired, but he tried to steal $900 from a brother who he stopped on a routine traffic stop, and that brother busted him. He put that money, some of that money, in the side door of his police car, and the brother said, there go my money right there. I could tell it's got the receipt on it. And he told the police officer, the sergeant, his supervisor, that's my money, and I can tell you what's on the receipt, where I ate, and how much money it is. And the police officer was trying to rob this brother of money, $900, and he got fired. So you giving these police immunity when you got police in this country deleting us, deleting black men, deleting black women, stealing money from us when they do traffic stops on us, like they did that brother. I did a video on that. That's on the Info Media Reacts channel. Check it out. So you give them this immunity and they just do whatever they're already doing what they want. Now you give them immunity and it's dangerous for us. Let me show you why. I bring the facts. I bring the receipts.
Tell the truth.
Check this out. This is an article. You should check this out. Reports: black people are still killed by police at a higher rate than other groups. Until we get to policies that don't demean that don't dismantle the system that exists, we're not going to see the situation stop. Check this out. I have talked about this in past videos. If you've been following my channel for quite some time, you know this. Thank you, everybody that's in the chat room. I see you. Jackie, Bobo Anderson, thank you for coming over. Daniel Price, thank you for coming over. Yeah, the new slave patrol, Jackie, the new slave patrols. I appreciate that, what you just said. Check this out right here. Here go the stats. Black people are most likely to be killed by police, deleted by police, 3 times more likely to be deleted by police than white people. That's 3 times more. Police deletions. Black men, you see the little bar that's red? 3 times more is higher than the white people. 30% of black victims were unarmed in 2015 and compared to 19% of white victims. So a lot of times when they'll tell you that white men actually get deleted more or shot at by cops more than black people, but a lot of times what they don't tell you is that a lot of times when those white men get taken out, they have weapons on them, or they're in a firing squad. They're firing at the police back and forth. Black men were being taken out all the way back to 2015. We're being stopped by cops and taken out of here when we have no weapons on our person. Remember And the Democrats are no damn better. Remember, in New York, you had the Stop and Frisk program where they were stopping black men, and they found out that the majority of the men that they were overlooking who had the drugs and the whipping were the white dudes. The black men didn't have nothing on them that was illegal. That was in New York under your Democratic mayorship. No, wait a minute. Giuliani was the mayor of New York when that was, and it was also Bloomberg. Was it? Yeah, it was under Bloomberg. Giuliani might have been part of it too. Bloomberg, I think, not Bloomberg. Who was it that was mayor? Let me get this right. You had, I think it was Giuliani who implemented it. That's right. Giuliani is the one that implemented it, and Giuliani is more of a conservative type of guy. Giuliani was the one that implemented the Stop and Frisk program. And when Bloomberg was trying to run for, when Bloomberg was running for mayor of New York, I think Bloomberg continued it. Correct me, let's be correct here. Giuliani was mayor of New York. Mayor Deakins, who was black. Bloomberg, I think, was mayor and continued the Stop and Frisk program. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Jackie says facts. Okay, because you know somebody's going to write a comment and say, man, you said this wrong, you said that wrong. You know how it goes, everybody. Let me put this up right here. United States police shootings, black disproportionately affected. The number of people deleted in police shootings in the United States since January 1st, 2015. As you can see, black people are leading in that. This was back in 2015. These numbers are still relevant today. Check this one out right here. Lifetime risk of being deleted by police. This is a lifetime. In comparison, 96% of black people, of blacks, men and boys have a larger chance of being deleted by police, whereas 39% for white men and white boys. So just in general, we have a higher chance of being deleted by cops in this country. And Donald Trump is telling you that he wants to give immunity to police. And that's also a part of Project 2025. What am I saying to you all? Donald Trump ain't no good. Joe Biden's no good for us, and Donald Trump's no good either. He's not for us either. None of these political parties are for us. They both implement policies that hurt us. Let's talk about the environment, because Donald Trump wants to get rid of the 2025, the Project 2025 is anti-environmental justice. They are against the EPA. They don't believe in any organizations that want to make the environment better for us. And who is affected more by a bad environment than black people? I lived in Oakland. They had environmental stuff in Oakland, in West Oakland, where the military left land after they had the '89 earthquake. They left all this land in West Oakland that had toxins in it, gave it to the city of Oakland. And where were these toxins at? In West Oakland. The majority of black people, Oakland is a black city, and a good number of black people live in West Oakland. There's been all type of environment. You've had situations where black women have lived in communities where they've gotten cancer. In California, we have a place called Richmond, California, where they have industrial plants. And black people have high counts of cancer and all type of environmental issues because the environment has factories, gasoline plants. All these pollutants are in black communities. We're talking about low-income black communities. Let me read this to you. This is going to blow you away. This is part of the Project 2025. They want to get rid of all environmental agencies, which is important, which is crazy because our air quality is important. How are people of color or black people disproportionately affected by air quality? Annually, the United States oil and gas industry releases about 9 million tons. Check this out, everybody. 9 million tons of methanol gas and other toxic chemicals into the atmosphere. African Americans or black Americans and low-income communities are disproportionately affected by air pollution in the United States. For example, this article that I'm reading from is of 2024. It's a recent article. So anybody that says, oh, this is old, no, it's not. It's happening now. For example, more than 1 million black Americans live within a half mile of a natural gas facility. Over 1 million black Americans face a cancer risk above EPA's level of concern. Due to unclear air and more than 6.7 million African Americans or black Americans living in a 91 United States counties with oil refineries. We got it in California. You got a place called Vallejo. A lot of black people live in Vallejo. There's oil refineries there. You got oil refineries over in Richmond, California, where you have a lot of black people that live. Black people have been dealing with environmental racism for years and years. There's a place, I did a video about this years ago. There is a community, I believe it's either in Atlanta, Tennessee, or Alabama. There's a community where black people are coming down with all types, I think it's in Alabama, they're coming down with all types of cancers. And there's some factory that's been putting chemicals into the water, into the environment, and black people, every black person that lives in this community is coming down with cancer. This was reported maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. Y'all really got to be with me here. This is important. Send this out. Send this out. Excuse me, I'm coughing. Let me get a little bit of water here. Let me finish reading this to you. EPA's level of concern due to unclear air. More than 6.7 million black Americans live in 91 United States counties with oil refineries in total. Black Americans are 75% more likely than white people to live in a fence-lined communities. Wow. Additional exposure to poor air quality can cause numerous health problems such as asthma. Approximately 13.4% of black American children suffer from asthma as compared to only 7.3% of white children. Do you understand what I'm saying to you all? Do you really understand? Put sevens in the chat room if y'all really feeling where I'm coming from. Thank you, Deborah Guns, for rocking with me. Beverly Palmer is coming in the house. Miss Jamma is in the house. Do y'all really get where I'm coming from? That this is part of Project 2025. They want to get rid of all environmental agencies that regulate what the government is doing, that regulate what these corporations are doing. Donald Trump is 100% for corporations. He's 100% for the corporations. I'm telling y'all, this man is only for the corporations. He's brought in. So a lot of people say, oh, he's different from the politicians because, you know, he's a businessman. He's a businessman who has gone bankrupt time and time again. Let me read you some more of his racism. In 1989, in a controversial case that's been characterized as a modern-day lynching for black teenagers and one Latino teenager, the Central Park Five were accused of attacking and raping a jogger in New York City. Trump immediately took charge in the case, running an ad in local papers demanding bring back the death penalty, bring back our police. The teen's convictions were later vacated after they spent 13 years in prison and the city paid $41 million in a settlement to the teens. But Trump in October 2016, y'all, when he was in office, said he still believes they're guilty despite the DNA evidence to the contrary, and he's never given them an apology. This is the kind of man that you're dealing with. Another part of his racism. In 1991, a book by John O'Donnell, former president of Trump's Plaza Hotel, this is somebody that worked for him, and casino in Atlantic City, quoted Trump criticism of a black accountant. Black guys counting my money, I hate it. This is what Trump said. A black man counting my money, I hate it. The only kind of people I want counting my money are short guys that wear a yarmulke, meaning he wants someone, a Jewish guy, every day. I think the guy is lazy, and it's probably not his fault because laziness is a trait in blacks. And that's a word that he uses. This is what Donald Trump said in 1991, another part of his history of racism. It's really, check this out. He even goes on to say this. It really is, I believe that. He believed that black people were lazy and were not smart enough to account his money. It's not anything they can control, Trump said. Trump later said in 1997, in the Playboy interview, y'all should look that up, that the stuff that O'Donnell wrote about me is probably true. Did you hear what I just said? Donald Trump said that the stuff that the plaza supervisor that he had running his plaza, his hotel, and his casinos, said that Donald Trump said that black people didn't have the capacity or the energy to be doing his accounting, that they're lazy, that they can't help it, that black people, we were born like this. And when Trump found out that he said this about him, Trump said it's probably true. That's what Trump said back in 1996 when he did an interview with the Playboy interview. Won't y'all look that up and Google that up and see it for yourself? This is what Trump said. And this is also part of Project 2025. So for those of y'all on the social media streets who love y'all some Donald Trump, who do content about Donald Trump and try to make it seem like he's the answer for black folks, you better think first. And any black person who wants to rock with a man like this, who has this kind of history when it comes to his racism against black people, and I ain't even got to the juicy stuff yet. I got more. You hear this paper I got more documentation on this fool. So don't play with me today. I told you he doesn't give a damn about the environment. They want to cut that out in the Project 2025, and black people are hurt by the environmental impact of bad air quality more than anybody. And Trump wants to get rid of that agency. They want to get rid of the EPA. Another thing that Trump wants to do, and this is what Trump said out of his own mouth, Trump calls for the end of federal minimum wage as viewed shifts. Republicans retreat from primary stance, but say states should have control. Businessman again refuses to release tax returns, citing audit. That's Donald Trump lying again. Never showed his taxes because he's a liar. Donald Trump is against the minimum wage. But yet he sits up there and talks about black jobs. He sat up there in that goofy convention in Milwaukee, a city that he said was a horrible city that's made up of what, folks? What's the biggest population in Milwaukee? I think Milwaukee is made up about what, 84, 85% black. And he said it was a horrible city. Yet they had a convention there, and then he had a nerve to be on stage several times talking about black jobs. When he says the word black jobs, he's talking about low wage jobs. He's stereotyping us. He's laughing at us, literally. He's talking about those jobs that he doesn't want to give an increase to minimum wage for, right? Trump is against federal minimum wage. That's what he was saying before, and he still feels that way. Project 2025 will try to implement things to stop and leave it up to states, right? Leave it up to states, but Trump isn't really for increase, yet he talks about black jobs. And when he's talking about black jobs, he's talking about black people working in low-income jobs, because what jobs would black people be competing? When he says that Mexicans and immigrants are taking our jobs, the only jobs that immigrants could take would be low-skilled jobs. So are you saying that black people are low-skilled, Trump? Think about it, everybody. Use critical thinking skills. The only jobs that an immigrant could take, I'm talking about an illegal immigrant who comes over here, has no education, not legal. What jobs are they taking? It'll have to be something like janitorial jobs, low-wage jobs. Which means that if black people are working in low-wage jobs in this country, which he calls black jobs, that tells you that both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party have done nothing to make black people whole in this country. Why are we, as a people in the year 2024, why are we in a position where we have to compete with illegal immigrants anyway? Unless both Democrats, Democrats, and Republican clan, who get into office every 4 to 8 years, they switch turns. Both of them haven't done anything. Why is black people conditioned in that state if either one of these parties can do anything for us? Don't tell me about Donald Trump's opportunity zones, because a lot of those opportunity zone jobs gentrified black communities and forced black people out of those communities that could not afford to live there anymore. Nobody talks about that too. So that means you hurting a brother like this that's trying to work. Another thing that he's against, Donald Trump is extremely jealous of Obama. Let me tell you how Donald Trump rose up. Any black person who supports Donald Trump, you need to have your head examined. I wouldn't support Donald Trump. I wouldn't support the Democrats because they haven't done anything for us as well. But this, do y'all remember that when Obama, no matter what you think of Obama, this is facts. When Obama was president for 8 years, Donald Trump was extremely jealous of Obama because he couldn't understand how a black man could be in office that he believes he's smarter than. So what did Donald Trump do? You remember the birther movement? Donald Trump is the reason why you had the birther. I'm going to tell you how he created this mega movement. The mega movement is a byproduct of the birther movement and the Tea Party blended together. And then he was able to get the white supremacists, the white folks who were angry that a black man was president for 8 years and they wanted to see a white man back in control. And Donald Trump played on those dog whistles. You see, remember, Donald Trump said that Obama was not a citizen, that he wasn't born in America, and that he would send investigators to Hawaii to prove that he was never a citizen, and that he made Obama show his birth certificate, and Obama should have never did that shit. He should have never adhered to that. You the president of the United States, and you letting this chump, Donald Trump, make you show your birth certificate, make you show your education. Donald Trump had the nerve. See, this is Donald Trump is anti-black. He was anti-black towards Obama. I don't give a damn what you think about Obama, what he didn't do or do for black people. The bottom line, you watched Donald Trump show anti-black sentiments towards Obama, claiming that Obama was not a citizen, claiming that Obama didn't have a high school education or did not graduate. Obama showed that he did graduate from Harvard. Obama showed that he was credentialed, but yet Donald Trump has never showed his credentials. Donald Trump is a man who ran away from being in Vietnam back in the day because he used bone spurs as his excuse not to go into the military. Donald Trump is a chicken hawk. Donald Trump is a coward. Donald Trump almost got assassinated last week because Donald Trump is the one that manifested violence. If you go back and look at all of his rallies when he ran for president the first time, you saw people getting beat up in his rallies. Remember, it was a black guy that got beat up, a black man got beat up at a Donald Trump rally, and Donald Trump was on the stage talking about, get him out of here, yeah. Donald Trump is the one that manifests violence. Donald Trump is the one that puts out dog whistles where his minion, the megas, go out and do destruction and harm people. No matter what you think about Nancy Pelosi, who's a Democrat, when her husband got attacked by one of Donald Trump's minions, and when her husband almost got attacked to the fact that he almost died, Donald Trump was laughing about it. Yet everybody's telling us that we should show some conviction towards him. That man manifested violence. The old saying is, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Donald Trump, he manifested the very thing that he got when he was running around pushing out all sorts of narratives, highfalutin scenario. Donald Trump is the one that got all those people fired up during January 6th, that caused them to go to the Capitol and do all that carnage that they did, all that destruction that they did. They did it because they were following his lead, following his words. So because Donald Trump doesn't like Obama and he energized the birther movement, and the people that believed that he wasn't a citizen because they were racist, they followed Donald Trump. And they also followed Donald Trump, the Tea Party. Also, Donald Trump was jealous of Obama because Obama clowned his ass at one of those roasting dinners. And Donald Trump said some things, and Obama said some things, and Donald Trump didn't like it. He made Donald Trump look like a sucker that he is, a lollipop. So his shit towards Obama was always emotional. It was always personal. And he also didn't like the fact that a black man was president when prior to Obama becoming president, remember, Donald Trump tried to run several times and he lost. So in his mind, he's like, how could this Negro beat me out at the White House? Damn it. That's what it was. This is why he doesn't like Obamacare. Under Project 2025, Trump says he will renew efforts to replace Obamacare if he wins a second term. This is another part of the Project 2025. Now, you may say, well, I don't like Obamacare. So, check this out, everybody. Do you know how many black people are on Obamacare? If this man gets rid of Obamacare, he's going to hurt 400 million black Americans. You can go do the research for yourself. 400, let me correct this, 4 million. Let me correct it right now. Not 400, 400 million. I'm going to say it again. So if somebody comes to this video, they'll say, oh, you said the wrong. No, I'm correcting myself. 400 million black people will lose their health benefits. About over 400 million black people are currently benefiting from the Obamacare. And we know that health care has been a disparity within the black community, particularly low-income black communities, because you damn near know that we're going to need the health care when we are living in communities, black people who live in communities that are impacted by poor air quality, environmental racism, which means you're going to get sick, which means if you get sick from living in a community that has poor air quality, now you go to see how it all goes together? Now you have to go to the hospital. You can't, now if you don't have no health care to treat what you got from being in a bad environment, and Donald Trump wants to get rid of Obamacare, but they never tell you what they're going to replace it with that you will benefit from, that's dangerous. That's part of the Project 2025 plan. Look at this. African Americans Uninsured rates dropped by more than a third under the Affordable Care Act. Repealing the ACA and cutting medical aid would undercut the progress of the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, if you cut it. The Affordable Care Act, ACA, expansion of medical aid and reform to individuals' insured market, including subsidies, coverages for people with incomes up to 4 times the poverty line, have helped to lower the uninsured rate for non-elderly Black Americans by more than 1/3 between 2013 and 2016, from 18.9% to 11.7%. So you see, the Affordable Care Act has benefited, especially our elderly and our poor in our communities, people that live in poor communities. If the Obama Act is changed, taken away by someone like Trump, who said this, and you can look it up for yourself. This is an AP report. He would be hurting Black people. The so-called "Make America White Again" man, okay? Make America white again. That's really what the message is. Let's put this up. I'm almost near the end of my presentation, but I got a little bit more for you. President Trump has attacked workers' safety, wages, and rights since day one. Former President Trump, first day on the job, his administration has systematically promoted the interests of corporations, executives, and shareholders over those of working people. The current administration has rolled back. This is what he did when he was in office the first time. The current administration has rolled back workers' protections, proposed budgets that slash funding for agencies that safeguard a worker. Like this brother right here. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? So if you are a worker like this brother right here, you got to worry about working in an environment that could be dangerous to you. You could get hurt on the job. You could be exposed to something on the job. You get rid of all the safeguards. You get rid of the agencies that protect on the job situations, and you create an unsafe workplace. You mess around with the wages. You slash the safeties and the consistent attacking workers' ability to organize and collective bargaining. So you not only make the workplace unsafe, but you also hurt the ability for people to collectively bargain. The Republicans don't believe in unions. The Republicans and Donald Trump don't want unions. They want complete autonomy over you not being able to fight in your union shop for better wages. They want to pay you whatever the hell they want to pay you. That's why he doesn't like the $15 minimum wage. Donald Trump ain't for the unions whatsoever. He's for the corporations. Why are you? So the truth of the matter is, Donald Trump is no better than Biden. The Democrats are no better than the Republicans. The Republicans are no better than the Democrats. Both the same birds of the same wing that destroys you. And again, the Supreme Court ain't supreme because they're bought and sold for and paid for. You've got Clarence Uncle Tom Thomas, who's taking all type of kickbacks and money. The court is corrupt. Those individuals on the court that are corrupt, like Clarence Thomas, are corrupt. And we wouldn't have a Clarence Thomas, y'all. Let me give y'all some history. We wouldn't have a Clarence Thomas if Joe Biden's stinky ass would have voted no to Clarence Thomas. Remember, Anita Hill had accused him of sexual misbehavior towards her. And all the congressmen had to vote. You know, everybody had to vote on whether they were going to let Clarence Thomas go forward. Do you know, everybody put sevens in the chat room if you know this. Do you know that it was Joe Biden, Jim Crow Biden, who had the one unassenting vote? that allowed someone like Clarence Thomas to get into that seat as a Supreme Court justice because he didn't want to go along or agree or support Anita Hill. Yet we got black women talking about Joe Biden, you got to put Kamala Harris on the ticket. Joe Biden's our man. Y'all voted for Joe Biden at 93%. Black men voted for him at 83% when Joe Biden first got in office. Black women at 93%. But how many of y'all black women that voted for Joe Biden and begged him to put Kamala Harris on the ticket? How many of y'all know that he's the main guy responsible for Clarence Thomas being able to get on that Supreme Court when he didn't vote against him and go in favor of Anita Hill? And therefore, all of you ladies out here in America who are mad about the abortion issue, well, y'all got Joe Biden to be mad at too, because if Joe Biden would have took Clarence Thomas or stopped him from being on that Supreme Court, which he could have by a vote against him, Clarence Thomas would have never been in a situation like he has been to be able to be the main person who gave the assenting vote, to give the vote, to strike it down for those of you women out there who are upset about the abortion situation. Joe Biden was also indirectly behind that when he did not vote to get Clarence Thomas unconfirmed. How many of y'all remember that? Put sevens in the chat room. Y'all know I'm telling the damn truth.
Tell the truth.
I told you I'm going to make people angry today on YouTube. All you black folks out there that do your videos on and you're talking Donald Trump up. Donald Trump's no better than Joe Biden. You're talking Joe Biden down and you're talking Trump up when Trump is a chump and Trump is no good as well. Black people are not getting anything from this Supreme Court, and we haven't gotten anything from Trump. The man lies. Every time he talks, every word that damn near comes out of his mouth is a lie and an exaggeration. Now, let me also say this. Look at the people. Man, I told you I'm going to go in on this.
Information is power.
Look at the people. This is why you know he's a racist. Look at the people that Donald Trump put on the stage at the RNC convention. He put Kid Rock. Kid Rock is a racist. Kid Rock is a cosplayer. Kid Rock at one point in time was rapping and biting off of black culture. Kid Rock likes to rock the Confederate flag and wears it proudly, talks about it proudly. He's a racist from Detroit. We all allowed ourselves to be fooled by this white boy just because he was rapping at one point in time. Now he's full rock and roll. He's full white supremacist, and he loves to rock the Ku Klux Klan stuff. Put sevens in the chat room if y'all know I'm telling the truth. So he puts a racist in Kid Rock on the stage. Donald Trump then turns around and puts another racist on the stage, and that's the Hawkster himself. How many of y'all remember that the Hawkster, Hulk Hogan, was very upset because his daughter was getting piped down by a black guy, okay? Tell it like it is.
Tell the truth.
Apparently his daughter had a liking for a black dude that I guess was, piping her down. And her father was angry about her being with a black dude, and Hulk Hogan admitted that he was a racist. He admitted it, said that he didn't like the fact that she was with a black guy, didn't want her to be having sex with a black guy. Oh, yeah. Even got a photo somewhere out there circulating where he's putting the N-word on the wall. Oh, yeah, he was using the N-word. This got all quoted in an article. It's Hulk Hogan. Donald Trump did this. Donald Trump put that man on the stage. A racist. A documented racist. Hulk Hogan. And then another racist in Kid Rock. Then he puts what's the dude that runs the fighting? What's that dude's name? The one that beat his wife. The one that runs the MOA fighting league. Dana White, yeah. Remember Dana White beat his wife up and nobody threw him through the mud about what he did. They told everybody on ESPN, including another well-known raccoon, you know him as Stephen A. Smith. They told everybody, be quiet, don't talk about it, don't report on it. That's Dana White. Nobody wanted to report on what Dana White did. But if it was a black man who had put his hands on a white woman or a woman in general, it would have been all over TV. They had been talking about it like they always do. This is who Trump had on the stage that he rocks with. All of them have something in common. All of them, one, a wife beater. Two of them, racist. Then he puts Amber Rose on the stage, who's a whore. She's a whore. She's a stripper. They keep calling her a rapper. She ain't no damn rapper. She's best known for the slut walk. Why are we promoting things like slut walks? So you put someone who represents low-hanging fruit to get on stage and tell you and me, Trump's not a racist, all you got to do is your research. Yet she gave us no research, but I'm giving you research today. In 1992, because Amber Rose is low-hanging fruit. In 1992, Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino had to pay a $200,000 fine because it transferred black and women dealers off the table to accommodate a big-time gambler prejudice. So basically, at his casino, he had a guy that was a big-time gambler, y'all, who didn't like women being at the tables and didn't like black women. So Trump had to pay a $200,000 fine for discriminating sexually and discriminating against black people, transferring black and women dealers off the table to accommodate a big-time gambler prejudice. In 1993, in congressional testimony, Trump said that some Native American reservations operating casinos should not be allowed because they don't look like Indians to me. That's what Trump said. In the year 2000, in opposition to a casino proposal by the St. Regis Mohawk tribe, which saw as a financial threat to his casinos in Atlanta, which he bankrupted, y'all, Trump secretly ran a series of ads suggesting that the tribe had a record of criminal activity that is well documented, and they did not have a record of criminal activity. So Trump didn't want the competition of Native people. In 2004, getting to the Apprentice, in season 2 of The Apprentice, Trump fired Kevin Allen, a black contestant, for being overeducated. This is what he did, y'all. He said this. Here's the quote. "You're an unbelievable talented guy in terms of education, and you haven't done anything." Trump said on the show, at some point, you have to say that's enough. In 2005, Trump publicly pitched what was essentially The Apprentice, white people versus black people. He said he was not particularly happy with the most recent season of his show, so he was considering an idea that is fairly controversial, creating a team of successful African Americans versus a team of successful whites. Whether people like that idea or not, it is somewhat reflective of our very various world. In 2010, there was a huge national controversy over the Ground Zero Mosque, a proposed to build a Muslim community center in Lower Manhattan near the site of 9/11 attack. Trump opposed that project, calling it insanity, and offered to buy out one of the investors in the project on The Late Show with David Letterman. Trump argued, referring to Muslims, well, somebody blowing us up, somebody's blowing up the buildings, and somebody's doing a lot of bad stuff. That's what Trump said. In 2011, Trump played a big role in pushing the false rumors that Obama, the country's first black president, was not born in the United States. I talked to you guys about that. He claimed to send investigators to Hawaii to look into Obama's birth certificate. Obama later released his birth certificate and should have never done that, calling Trump a canvas barker, a carnival barker. The research has found a strong correlation between birtherism, as a conspiracy theory is called, and racism. But Trump has reportedly continued to push his conspiracy theories in private. That's Donald Trump. Let's get back to some more Project 2025. I'm almost close to the conclusion, everybody. I'm getting there. Bear with me. So if you got fewer inspections, more deaths, Trump administration rolls back workplace safety. Remember, I said that when he got into office, he rolled back workplace safety laws. Guess what happened? Like it says here, there were more deaths, more incidents, more problems, fewer inspections, and more deaths because of what Trump did, which puts, if you're a black man working on these jobs, it puts you at risk. That's just that facts. I read that already about the K through 12. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the child tax credit. If you have been benefiting and enjoying the child tax credit that you get, depending on how many kids you have, under Project 2025, they want to get rid of the child tax credit. So, for example, the Republicans, let me go back to this. Is what I'm going to do. Let me go to this. Now I'm going to get to the child I'm going to get to the child tax credits in just a moment. Let's get to this right here, the Voters' Right Act. Right now, the Republicans are not for the Voters' Right Act, right? They are against the Voters' Right Act. They want to bring everything back. They are also anti the Project 2025 is against civil rights. They're anti-justice for George Floyd, the George Floyd justice bill. The Republicans are anti John Lewis Voting Right Act or bill, or it's not law. So voters' right bill was blocked by the Republicans in their filibuster. The Project 2025 will reinforce the same thing, which means black people will continue to have our votes purged. We will continue to do things to keep us from voting and conducting our ability to vote like any other citizen. They will target states that we live in, like Atlanta, Philadelphia. That's why when Donald Trump lost the race, he kept claiming that there was fishy business going on in Philadelphia. Why? Because it's black people that live there. Milwaukee. Why? Because black people live there. Detroit, because black people live there. Atlanta, because the majority of people in Atlanta were black. All the places that he had an issue with when he lost the race to Joe Biden all have this in common. Areas were heavily black populated areas. So he wants to continue messing with black people, and we've had enough. I've had enough with messing with black people from being able to have the right to vote without them trying to play tricks on us. Lying and trying to change our polling areas, lying and looking at names that are what they think are black names and taking us off the voters roll. This is the tricks that they were playing. The Republicans were playing these tricks. Don't you think these tricks are going to continue? You see, folks, let me tell you something. Whenever voter turnout is high, Democrats always win, because overall, the Republican Party is not overall very popular when it comes to the complete population of our country, which is why they have that electoral shit, because the electoral is supposed to be to give the southern states that are lower populated a chance. But if they were to get rid of that electric shit, none of these Republicans will ever win a race. So they know that they have to cheat. Donald Trump says, oh, the Democrats cheated. Yeah. And just like the Republicans cheated when Al Gore got cheated out of his election. But the truth of the matter is, when votes are suppressed, when the voter turnout is low and you can suppress the votes, Republicans always win. Republicans lose when voter turnout is high. They win when voter turnout is low. That's always been the way politics has worked between both these evil parties, the Republican clan and the Democrats.
Tell the truth.
As I said before, the Republicans are never going to support the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. How would they do that if Donald Trump is already saying that he's going to give police immunity? So if he's going to give police immunity, they would never go for the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, because that act would require that police have to be held accountable. And the Republicans are not going to go for it because they tout themselves as the party of law and justice, right? Police and justice bullshit, right? So they're never going to give George Floyd Bill any shine, y'all. Never, ever, ever. And that's part of the Project 2025, y'all.
Tell the truth.
You see what I'm saying? I'm getting close to the end, y'all. Thank you for bearing with me as long as you have. Everybody in the chat room is wonderful. Let me give you a clap. You're all wonderful. Deborah Guns. I see Reviews is here. I'm going to say it again. And me and you need to do a show together, Sister Reviews. We need to do a collaboration together. I'm going to say it again. Democrats are no good. The Republican clan is no. Both these parties have failed black people, both. But the Democrats have really failed us because we've been voting Democrat lock, stock, and barrel for decades. And we have gotten nothing for our votes. But then you have to ask yourself, what will the Democrats do for you too? I'm just saying. I mean, what will the Republicans do for you too? We're actually in a trick bag here, because one, we know that Joe Biden has dropped out. Kamala Harris is in. I said it already from the beginning of this show. I don't think Kamala Harris is going to beat Donald Trump. Not because I like Donald Trump, not because I support Donald Trump, because I don't support Harris, Dems. I don't support any of these demon parties. But they pretty much put a fork in it. I pretty much concede Trump being president because the Democrats have really screwed up. They have really screwed themselves up. And Donald Trump has all the momentum since he had his life, since he was almost assassinated. And I know there's all kind of conspiracy theories around how, what happened, who, when. I'm not getting into that tonight. But that Project 2025 ain't no joke, y'all. Another area that will hurt us is the area of housing. Remember when Trump was in office, Trump and Carson, Ben Carson, Uncle Ben's Carson, y'all. The latest attack on fair housing and racial motivated and unlawful. Washington, D.C., President Donald Trump and Secretary of Housing. Why? This is another thing I never understood here. Why would you make, look, this is another thing I never understood. You've got a man who was known as a brilliant physician working at Johns Hopkins. Why would you not make Ben Carson the top medical guy of our country? Why would Ben Carson, who has more experience as a medical physician, why didn't Trump put Ben Carson as the top medical guy of our country? The what do they call it? The Surgeon General. Why didn't he get the surgeon? Why would you put this Negro? And I said this in previous videos. You take a black man who has medical background and you don't make him the man who they call gifted hands, right? You don't make him the Surgeon General, but you make the Negro in charge of the house. Make the nigga in charge of house. House nigga in charge of the house. Okay? So you appoint him over housing, which he has no experience in. Plus, we would think that Ben Carson would be understanding to people in housing since he claimed that he grew up poor. But yet Ben Carson, the house Negro who was put in charge of the house, he's doing some dirty shit. Donald Trump and Secretary of the House and Urban Development Ben Carson, who has no experience in this area, announced today without following a required notice and common process. Remember, I'm taking you back. This was 2020, July 23rd. A final rule that would escalate all oversight of the state and local government compliances with fair housing laws. Decades of experience shows us that strong HUD requirements, guidelines, or guidance and oversight are absolutely essential to rooting out the structural racism in housing. Without critical civil rights protections like the 2015 furthering fair housing rule, and Ben Carson took all this away, y'all. The race to the bottom that will harm black communities is oh my God. Once again, Trump administration is undertaking actions intended to drag Americans back into the Jim Crow era of racial segregation. This is what Ben Uncle Carson did for his plantation master, Trump. And this is another part of this Project 2025. When it comes to housing, screwing us over in housing. Now, black people, we need housing. We need decent housing. We need affordable housing. Everybody, no matter whether you're black, white, or otherwise, you see these houses up here. Everybody needs affordable housing. But particularly communities that are in despair need affordable housing and health care. Project 2025 wants to change all of that. This is ultimately crazy, y'all. Let me put this up here. Remember I told y'all about the expansion of child tax credit, the expanded Child Tax Credit and other policies in American Rescue Plan Act cut poverty by more than half for black and Hispanic children. So when they came out with the American Rescue Plan Act, they're saying that it cut poverty by more than half for black children and Hispanic children, expanding and making the CTC fully refundable, cut child poverty rates to historical lows for children of all backgrounds because black and Hispanic children are concentrated in low-income quarters. The impact for them was particularly dramatic. Both black and Hispanic poverty rates were cut from nearly 20% in 2019 to 8% today, y'all. What does this mean? Check this out. Under Project 2025, They want to get rid of the child tax credits. They want to get rid of that. They want to get rid of, I'm going to say this again, the affordable medical insurance, which covers more than 400 million black people in this society today. Trump wants to get rid of that. He's been saying this for a long time. Under the Project 2025, they plan to gut it. The Project 2025 is anti-Fair Housing Act. It's anti-inclusion. It's anti-equality levels on a playing field, on an equal playing field. They're anti that, because this is really about propping up white males who they now are deeming are being discriminated against, when white males have had every privilege and every advancement since day one. You're not going to see the John Lewis voting right bill ever be passed. The Republicans are totally against it. They're not for it. They're not promoting it. Now, let me bring up another issue with Trump. Remember, in 2011, while Trump suggested that Obama was not born in the United States, he also argued that maybe Obama wasn't a good enough student to have gotten into Columbia. This is racism, because Donald Trump has never shown his funky transcripts. Donald Trump has never shown you his damn qualifications. Obama should have never showed this man a damn thing. Obama was not, and this is, I don't care what you think about Obama, this is just facts, that what he did to Obama was bullshit. He also argued that maybe Obama was not good enough student to have. Obama was the president of the Yale Review. You do not become the president of such the Yale Review if you're not smart. If you know anything about Yale, or not Yale Review, the Harvard. Let me correct myself. Not the Yale Review, the Harvard Review, because Obama went to Harvard. And if you know anything about these sort of prestigious things they have at Harvard, you have to have good academics to be on board some of these things. Obama has a law degree in constitutional law. You can't be a dummy to get that. And he didn't take a affirmative action test. He had to take the same damn test as everybody else. What university has Donald Trump graduated from? Tell me right now, I'll wait. What's his academic credentials? What bachelor's degree, master's degree, or PhD does Donald Trump have? Matter of fact, we know that Donald Trump got in trouble for ripping people off with that fake Trump University, where he ripped off the students, promised them to get certain educational skills, and he lied to them. He did the same thing to them that all those technical schools from back in the day that are all defunct now, Trump lied. He had a university, people paid fees for the university. He took their money, gave them, they didn't have degrees that were worth a damn. Now, I'll tell you that's what he did. He made Donald Trump, who has no college education of a higher level himself, questions Obama, who has a law degree, advanced degree. And on top of that, he opens up a school, I think it was Trump University or some bullshit, in which he was cheating the people out of their money and giving them bad classes. That's what Trump did. That's what he did. Obama, he makes the claim that Obama was not a good enough student to have gotten into Columbia. So Obama went to Columbia. I mean, that man has a bachelor's degree. That man has a master's degree. I think Obama may have a PhD in law. He went to Columbia. That's a damn good school in New York. He's mad because he couldn't get into those schools. His father sent him to a little military academy, yet the chicken hawk never went in the military for real. He demanded that Obama release his university transcripts because he couldn't believe that Obama was able to go to Columbia University, Harvard Law School, where he was also the president of the Harvard Law Review. You got to have good grades to be able to do that. He made the demand. Trump claimed, I heard he was a terrible student. A terrible. How does a bad student go to Columbia and then to Harvard? Trump said these things because, one, he was jealous of Obama. Two, he's racist. He can't believe that a black man could do something that he couldn't do with all of his money that he has and all the privilege that he was given. That Obama, a black man, or a black man whose father was Kenyan, mother was white, biracial, whatever you want to call it. The bottom line is Trump couldn't stand Obama because Obama had achieved more than he had. Because Donald Trump had always wanted to be president, or at least wanted to be on that kind of level. And Donald Trump doesn't have any of the pedigree academically that Obama has. The only thing that we know Donald Trump for, most of us, is that he was on that show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. We know him for being Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. We know him for exaggerating how much money he has. We know him for just being a great marketer. He'll lie to you and say, hey, this is Trump Water. No, he doesn't own a water company. He simply puts his name on it. Trump is a good marketer. He's a good carnival act. He's a good con man. Everybody in New York knows this. I've known this for years. I never was a Trump fan because I didn't like Trump from day one when it came to the Central Park Five. I don't know how any black person could rock with Trump knowing what he did to those, what he did to contribute to what happened to those young brothers. Nobody was even checking for Trump until he got on that Apprentice show. That gave him momentum. And then the birther movement gave him momentum. All this gave him momentum. Now, I know somebody's going to leave a dumb comment on this video and say, well, what about the rappers? I don't give a damn about the rappers. The rappers don't speak for the black community. What about the rappers who put him in their music and took pictures with him? I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, those rappers are raccoons, okay? And most of those rappers that hung out around him were there for the opportunity to be around him because he had money and they inspired to have money themselves. What about Reverend Sharpton and Shady Jesse, Jesse Jackson hanging out? Yeah, once again, we know that Al Sharpton is a shyster. We know that Al Sharpton allegedly is an agent of the FBI, that he was an informant. Why would we trust someone like Al Sharpton anyway? Okay, we know that Jesse Jackson has been messy as well. Just because you got a few rappers that shout out Trump or hung out with him, or a few misled black leaders or so-called black leaders, just because they want to hang out with him don't mean a damn thing. You see, a racist person can tolerate people to a certain degree. See, remember, you had racist white men who owned slaves, our people, like Thomas Jefferson, who would have sex with black slaves, but would still enslave the kids that were born of those slave women. So white men have never had a problem still being racist and still messing around with our women, and also still doing business deals with black men, because at the end of the day, it's about transaction. Trump can do business with you, don't mean he really like you. Long as he gets something, what he wants out of you. And then those individuals that hang out with Trump that look like us, they want something from Trump as well. Has rappers hanging out with him and singing songs about him, how has it benefited black people? It has not.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
So I don't care. And rappers don't represent the black community. They don't speak for us. So I'm not going to judge and say, oh, well, because Trump hung out with some rappers, some of these rappers don't have critical thinking skills. I've already laid out in the beginning of this video, so watch it from the beginning if you missed anything. I've already laid out in my documents all the other racist things that Trump was engaging in from 1970 into 2020. Here's the article right here. Look it up for yourself. Donald Trump's long history of racism from 1970 to 2020. I read all the details. For those of you who came in late, there was other juicy details. Remember, I talked to you about when he got in trouble for housing discrimination and the Nixon administration had to sue him. His father was also involved in it too, Fred Trump. But I forgot to also mention to you that when Donald Trump was issued to allow people, black people in particular, to be able to live in his buildings, do you know that Donald Trump tried to propose an idea to have those black people not come into the front door of the building, but come in through the back door, like we're back in the 1950s and 40s and 30s when black people couldn't come through the front door. Do you know that that was a proposal that Donald Trump thought he could get away with? How many of y'all know about that? I know about it.
Tell the truth.
I want to say peace to Empress Goddess for coming in. Brother Topping Jr. What's going on, brother? What's up to you? Good to see you. Jill's Chocolate, everybody that's been rocking with me all day. I know I've been going on for a minute here, nonstop with the things I've been saying, but that's pretty much my presentation for today. Make sure if you have not subscribed to Info Media Reacts, that's the other channel. I changed the name from Information Man Speaks Podcast to Info Media Reacts. You can stroll down on this page of my channel and you'll see Info Media Reacts. Subscribe to that channel, hit the bell notification because I load up more videos over there, uploaded videos, and go live sometimes over there. The channel's doing real good since I've revamped it. The content over there, the stuff that I do over here will be more educational. The stuff that I do on that channel will be polarizing things that's happening on these YouTube streets, on these, not YouTube streets, but the social media streets, things that are happening with well-known figures where I examine the videos. Everything is examined off of videos that I will put up and we'll analyze it together. But it's very polarizing content that I'm doing over there, which is why I think the views have spiked up over there because I've been touching on very controversial issues, probably more controversial than over here. So make sure you check that out. And remember, like I said before, this is going to really hurt us. If the Project 2025's plan is to eliminate the child tax credit, once again, who's going to be hurt? Black people, black fathers, black mothers. You see this brother right here with his child. We are going to be hurt by this ideology of the Project 2025. I want y'all to understand that and take that in. With that said, everybody, I want to appreciate everybody that came over, and I want to give you a clap. And we're about to get on out of here. Tell somebody that you love them. Let me also do this too. I want to ask you all to definitely subscribe to the channel if you have not.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Definitely subscribe. I really appreciate that if you could. Hit the bell notification, subscribe to the Information Man Show, subscribe to the Info Media Reacts, subscribe to Info Media Reacts as well. If you like football, I do have a channel in which I'm following Colorado, Coach Prime, and the players over there. The season's going to be coming around very soon, so that channel's going to be off the hook. I drop videos over there, sometimes go live. Check out Prime Sports Media as well. That's my other channel that I have. That's the sports channel. If you like sports, check that out, subscribe. But check out Info Media Reacts. And everybody, we're getting ready to get out of here. Y'all have a good one. Tell somebody that you love them. I'm pretty sure I made some people angry today because I laid it all out on the line today and I told the damn truth.
Tell the truth.
And that's what it's all about. I appreciate you, Alicia, for coming over. Everybody, last call. Everybody that's in the house, you all are the best. You guys have been supporting me through thick and thin. Whether I'm doing a topic that brings a lot of people over or a topic that doesn't bring a lot of people, you guys rock with me. Whatever the topic is, you all have been rocking with me. I appreciate it. And with that, I love you. Thank you. Have a great night. Peace. Peace. Peace.
Tell the truth.